Hello and welcome to Chaotic Joy. I am your host, Barbie Cristofaro, and I am a licensed master social worker and the proud owner of Ends to Meet, an agency servicing people in need. And it is through that type of work that I have been fortunate enough to find amazing people in our state, people who give, people who do, people who act and care about their neighbors. How fortunate am I to have an amazing circle right here in our city. Additionally, Chaotic Joy was created to highlight those heroes, to highlight the people who never ask for credit, who never seek the attention, but do the work every single day. And I want to highlight their stories, no matter how beautiful and at times how messy. It is Chaotic Joy. Today I'd like to welcome my good friend, Hyacinth, and my good friend and dear sister, Jackie Nadal Sanchez. Thank you, ladies, for coming over today.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. I'm going to start with Hyacinth. Hyacinth, I know you, and I know all the work that you've done for the city of Hartford specifically. You seem to run on some kind of special battery because you are on
Yeah.
all the time.
I'm like the bunny that goes and just keep going.
It keeps going.
Can't help myself.
Day and night,
Yeah.
and for decades.
Yes, yes. I think my real joy comes from getting up in the morning, taking a walk, 3 miles walk, right? Get back. In that period of time, I can think about a lot of stuff that I need to do. Get back, get ready, and go to my
That's-
volunteer work.
Yeah.
I don't get paid to do this, but my joy comes from doing things, which I just, I couldn't find myself doing anything but what I'm doing right now.
Right.
The focus got to be on your passion.
Yeah.
And my passion is helping people. First, my kids, right? My grandkids and my daughters, my 2 daughters, which is the oldest one is a medical doctor, and the other one is a doctor of education. And I have a son too, but he passed away. Unfortunately, he was also a chemistry doctor. And that kind of, hold my heart so dearly. And sometimes my pain from that loss, I would find myself sometimes calling him out. Yeah, son, why? And so, yeah, it's that. But my joy is by doing and helping others to make their life better. And the other thing that makes me happy when I get up in the morning is when I go to the office. Well, I call it my office, the senior center, right?
It's your office.
And walk into the dining room and hear the chattering and the laughing, and people are having coffee. And I would sit back and I would say, stand back and I'll say, this is what my joy is all about, right? Having people talking to each other, making friends and, laughing. It's just brings something to you that money cannot buy,
Right.
okay? That's so important it is.
Yeah.
So my joy, just one of those things that comes from doing always.
Right.
Yeah.
And what you did is you took a challenge like the loss of your son.
Yes.
And though that is forever in your heart,
Right.
it's also like a motivator is what I'm hearing.
It does. And that part, there's so many things that I've done in my life that makes me happy, to be honest with you. And with my son loss, we've developed a STEM day for him that every year I've gotten the professors from Brown University and, Wesleyan and UConn and Trinity College. And these are schools that he went to, Trinity and Brown. And we have those professors come and they would do science fairs for the kids, and they'll come out and they'll look and see what it is that they're doing there and things like that. Then I have a scholarship fund for him that every year I give a kid $1,000 for books and stuff like that. And so those are some of the things that makes me happy,
Yeah.
And all I ask the young person to do is please pay forward.
Right.
Whatever you do in life, please pay forward.
Yes.
And that matters.
Yes, it does. It goes a long way.
Yes.
And this lovely lady here, who I also happen to know my whole life, you are absolutely one of those anchors in the city of Hartford. You hold it together, and I know I'm biased because you are my sister, but I wouldn't say it if I didn't see it, if I didn't mean it, if I didn't know the lives of all the many kids that you touch, their lives. The children, I've seen you do this community work for years on end, giving to families, whether it's your backpack run or just cleaning cemetery tombstones like you did the other day.
Yes.
What inspires you, Jackie, to spread that kind of joy to others?
You know, I just think that there isn't enough joy that people are spreading, and people are faced with different challenges and struggles throughout their day. That what does it cost me to spread that joy? It could be simple gestures, holding a door open, complimenting someone on their outfit, or just, hey, have a great day.
Right.
That might be the only positive thing that someone hears for the day. So it doesn't cost anything to spread joy in that manner.
Right.
As far as the things you mentioned for drives and such, there's a need out there, right? And even now in these times of struggle financially, if I can help alleviate some of the burden of having to get school supplies or that additional toy that didn't make it under the tree,
That's true.
why not help? And I have been afforded an opportunity through the platform at work to chair different employee networks that allow me to level up and use that as leverage to help more than I would be able to on my own.
And it's interesting that you say that because there are opportunities within organizations, such as in the careers that people are in, and these organizations exist, and it's really fascinating to me that people take advantage of that to volunteer just to give back to someone else. And I find that to be so selfless of you, because you could easily say, I'm exhausted. I work really, really hard, and I've done so much for the community for decades. I'm going to take this break, and you haven't done that yet. So
I've
wondering
attempted
when you're going to take
No,
a
you
break.
can, Jackie.
I've attempted to, and I work with a fantastic team that really helps drive the passion. They're as passionate and I would say sometimes just crazier than me with getting things done. And if I didn't have that support, I wouldn't be able to do as much as I'm able to do. So just surrounding yourself with the right teams that are on the same mission and mindset that you're on is so important.
Right, right.
Yeah, so every year I've been doing this for like 25 years. We call what we call a community day in the Barry Square neighborhood.
Yes.
And Jackie, the first one I'm calling is Jackie to say, hey Jackie, could I get some book bags with stuff in them, for our kids that's going back to school.
Right, not empty ones.
No, not.
That's right.
So yeah, every
Supplies.
year I would have these. I have to organize this whole community for the neighborhood. We'll have like 1,500 people come out and stuff like that. We'll have the fire and the police department, the Red Cross and all everyone that we can get there. The hamburgers made by the fire department and the hot dog, the Salvation Army and stuff like that. And we have bicycles and stuff that I got donated from my CSOs and stuff. And those are the things that we've done every year for the past 25 years. And this coming up August 4th, we are doing another one at Goodwin Park. And that will be the same. The bouncy house, the play, everything you can talk about is there. Music, everything.
Backpacks.
Yeah, backpack, of course. And I'm not only reaching out to you for backpack, I'm reaching out to other people for backpack because we want to make sure we have enough backpack for everyone.
And not only that, but I also know about the turkey. And all the turkeys you've given
Oh
away.
yeah, we've given turkeys. I work with Pal, and Pal
Yep.
would always come in and they'll call me and say, how many turkeys do you want this year? And I'll say, maybe about 40 turkeys, stuff like that, because this turkey has to go to our seniors.
Yes.
And our seniors, once I said, oh, we're giving turkey this year, they'll, okay, yeah, can I sign up? I said, okay, you can sign up. And they often ask me. And
You run out of them.
Yeah, they often ask me, so when is this turkey coming? And I said, oh, maybe 2 days before Thanksgiving, right? Oh, I thought it would come a little early. I said, honey, we're getting turkeys, okay? And you're getting turkeys, so it doesn't matter when it comes. As long as it's thawed out, you can get it ready for cooking, all right? And so, yeah, they've given turkeys every year for that event. And so, yeah, I love my seniors. They are so, I look at them and I said, these are my family. Yeah. When I walk in that center in the morning, They are my family. But you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the city of Hartford that I'm dabbling in so many different issues. The school stuff, you know, that I'm involved with. You know, the police civilian board, things like that. You know, making sure that police are doing the right thing for our communities and stuff like that. You know, the town committee, you know, they involved in town committee, making sure that you get what you need for your community. You know, I just got for almost $5 million to do a project and Maple Avenue, thanks to my state rep, you know, that James gave, and Matt Ritter and, you know, previous state rep, things like that. So it's an ongoing work that never ends.
It doesn't end, and I'm glad you brought those points up because it takes a lot of diligence and a lot of heart behind the work. Like I said earlier, you guys are the heavy lifters. You're not alone in the community, as you so well, you know, made sure to mention that. But I also think about you guys in a different way, in a way that the community sometimes, the community that's struggling, the community that maybe even new to the community, or the community that just can't make ends meet, sometimes it is you guys. You are the face behind the scenes, behind those programs. I know you both work with PAL. I know you both are very involved politically to ensure that your community benefits from all the things it can benefit from because they have the right to. Jackie, do you want to speak more about that in and of itself, how you use your voice to make sure that you can get something that's going to benefit not one person, but all people, as you both have done so well?
Having a seat at the table. It's so important. And where for years I wasn't at the table, I would voice my concerns to someone who would speak up for the community. And then when an opportunity arose and I was asked to join the committee, I took it because I can't complain about the problem when I'm not part of the solution, right? So I became part of the solution, frankly, because I live there.
Right.
Why wouldn't I want a say?
Right.
And so it has really been rewarding to see that you are pivotal in your community. You can make a difference. You just have to stay steady and not give up. And I know that, going back to what Hyacinth was saying, it doesn't happen overnight.
Nope.
It's been years in the making just to get the process rolling. You may have an idea that can solve a problem, but if you don't have the project going, the funding to accompany it, it's not going to happen. And things change over years where something may have cost X one year, it now costs Y. So now we don't have the funding that we thought we had. We need to go get more funding. So really staying on top of it and not giving up. And I do give you a lot of credit for that, Hyacinth, because I know that you're working on projects that have been 5 years in the making, and they're so close to being completed now. But if you had given up, it wouldn't have happened. Yeah.
Yes, because I have
Good point.
I have great relationship with the Speaker of the House, the mayor, previous mayors, and governors and stuff like that. Because I say, if I don't have a relationship with them, when I need something, how am I going to ask for my neighborhood if I don't?
That's
Okay,
right.
so it's really great to have that kind of working and the respect that they give to you, because the fact is that they know that you're doing something good in your neighborhood, and I'm not asking for any. There's nothing for me.
Right.
It's for the neighborhood. It's
Right.
really, which is really important.
You're mobilizing the community, and
Yes.
so if they're strong, then we're all strong together.
Yeah.
And one point I wanted to bring up is many people in town will never know the faces behind all that work, right? They won't know who organized and put all this together, and I know there's a lot of hours put into
Yes.
each event. But the point I wanted to highlight to you is that I myself personally know that sometimes when children come from an environment that is chaotic or that is missing some things, that it is your work behind the scenes that can help to supplement what is missing. And you can work 2 jobs 3 jobs nowadays, and it's still really difficult to afford rent, for example, and then make time to find a way to get supplies for children so that they can have a strong, fresh start come August, or so that they can have a family meal together thanks to the food you guys put together, or so that you can have a cleanup day and children or families can go to these parks and feel welcomed. And so I am just so incredibly proud of the work that you guys do together, which brings me to, how did you guys meet, Jackie?
That's a good question. How did we meet? Through the town committee. Yes.
Look at that.
Yes, through the town committee.
Yep.
Wow.
Yes. I did a lot of work. I was on town committee before Jackie. And I know they had kicked me off because I wasn't in agreement a couple of years ago with previous town committee member.
Have anything
Not
to do
you,
with that.
but previous, because I wasn't going to be supporting certain things that they were doing. And I said, that's fine. Anyway, I can get my work still done because I have developed kind of a relationship that people respect me for what I was doing. So therefore, it didn't really matter to me whether they throw me off or not. And one of the things that I found myself was doing, that I would go to Hartford High. I would walk from my house every morning to Hartford High.
That's quite
right?
the hike.
Yes, but that was a part of my mental, thinking that I have to walk there. And what I was doing at Hartford High is that I was helping the special needs kids, especially the one that I know wasn't going to college. Okay, they were mentally challenged. And what I wanted to do for them was to give them some kind of a life skills that they could use even though they weren't going to college. And it was to sew pillowcase, sew neck brace. You put stuff in it and you could warm it in the microwave and put it around your neck. We were just sewing, even as simple as making a buttonhole or putting a button and close. I was teaching these kids how to do it. And they were so excited about it. And I said, wow, this is great that they're doing something that they really love. They would make these pillows and they would sell it.
Yeah.
And they would have a day at Hartford High when they would do all these selling. And I felt really, really good about it. Then the COVID hit, and then I said, oh no, I can't go back to do that. So anyway, but those are some of the stuff that I like to do to help others. Kids in general, even with my kids, when they were little, I never leave it to chance for them. I didn't just say, I'm sending my kids to school and I won't be involved. I went to school with them pretty much every day. My husband and I had a little business, but I was able to get to that school every day. And I actually became PTO president of every one of those schools my kids went into. I know those teachers were always saying, here she comes now. But I think it works in so many ways because I got the respect from the teachers. And my kids all turn out to be doctors.
That's right.
So I always encourage parents, you are the best advocate for your children. Don't just send them to school and forget that they're there. You be involved. You can get a lot of stuff done when you are involved. Because the teachers know, they respect you. They know that your kids are going to be doing the right thing. And that's what I wanted.
Right.
And I was doing it just like it was nothing. It was a part of what I need to do. And it all worked out.
Yes,
all worked out.
yes it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you've been very involved as well too in your children's education, and I will highlight that I think sometimes when kids go to high school, that's one of those prime times that I've noticed sometimes that people just take a break, and they say, oh, okay, well, they're big now. And they are, right? And you want to give them independence and you want to help them, try to figure some things out. However, as a parent, you are the expert. And your guide is really instrumental. And so I know that from you personally, how involved you still were in your kids' lives, even at the high school level, at the college level. What made you feel as if, like Hyacinth is explaining, that this is your responsibility, even though they, legally are adults at 18, let's say, so they say. What makes you feel so connected in that sense?
You can't let the foot off the gas pedal, right? They might be 18, but they're still living and you're still responsible for them. They're under your roof. And so therefore, their actions reflect on me as well. So being part of the school system, like you say, and making sure that the educators knew that you're part of whatever resolve there needed to be, I think is very important. And I think that the kids also feel that you're at the table because you're supporting them, and I think that that goes a long way, even though they don't say it while they're in the weeds, right?
Right.
But as they grow, they realize that you were there for a reason. I'm still the one that the kids reach out to, right? They're grown adults now, but I think they know that I'm going to give them a straight answer, and they know that I'm going to give them the pros and cons of whatever decision they may be thinking of.
Which means that you've stabilized a trust that they know that they can depend on you, that you're not going to say, you know, I'll table that and never get back to it, but there's a certain constance, if you will. And so I wanted to highlight this a little bit because you guys go above and beyond your family unit. You have given so much to your own unit and then have given just as much, if not even more, because you're still doing it in the community. Jackie, I know that you help so many people and you're not responsible for every single human out there. Neither one of you are, even though you've touched so many lives, shaped so many lives. And I have a tough question to ask. Who do you think is not receiving joy?
That is a tough question. I'm going to have to rely on some of my recent work, and that's been with the unhoused veterans. I've been working on some drives that will benefit them, again, through Officer Barrett in Hartford. He's like boots on the ground, and he really delivers in person. So I know that anything that I do on the fundraising part is going to go into good hands. He's going to make sure that who needs it needs it. But I feel that there's just so much isolation with individuals that are unhoused, and that they're in need of joy. And if I can do something on a small scale to get them some necessities, I will do that as often as possible, which at this point it's been twice a year.
Wow, and that really is a great need. We are so fortunate to have our veterans there's not enough thank yous for them, and then to be in the situation in which they are in, and recognizing that there could be some traumas there as well, and some mental health issues that may be unaddressed. And I will say that poverty, such as the unhoused, is a level of a mental health situation, because the longer that you go homeless, for example, the further damage is being created, and so therefore comes food and stability, comfort, and everything that we enjoy. So that was a really strong answer, because our veterans really do need our support. Absolutely.
Absolutely. They've done so much for us. It's the least I can do, at least on my part.
We need more Jackies.
Clone away.
Hyacinth, what do you think?
To me, it's kids that are in foster homes, you know, that it's always so sad and, you know, lonely. My seniors who are closed in all by themselves most of the time. Families sometimes turn their back on their parents and stuff like that. But going back to the children, they are sad because there's so many things that they don't have, that love that, you know, is given by a mother that cares and love for them, and reaching out to find someone who could say, adopt me now, and so I can feel safe and be a place where, you know, everyone deserves to be happy. Going back to the homelessness, that's another sad piece, because, you know, I walk the park in the morning in Goodwin, whatever, and I've seen people just laying in the park sleeping, and it saddens me. And the thing is, I would reach out to, you know, Barrett as usual, but I also reach out to my state rep, my governor, to say, look, you are giving a lot of money to a lot of these nonprofits to help homelessness, but here's what you're doing. Here's what they're doing wrong. They're giving these people that needs home, a tent, to go and hitch anywhere in our community. And that's not right. I said we should be lifting them up, not lifting them down. Okay, by giving them a tent does not help them. All right? We should be working hard to give them health, well, give them some mental health issue, or if they need training to get a job, helping them find an apartment, stuff like that. That's what lifts up people. That's what makes them feel joyful.
Yeah.
And they're not, those departments are not helping these parents that well, these homeless people. And with the kids, again, we need to make sure that they have the love that they need. And that's why it's so important when we do our community event, we ask everyone to come out. Get a book bag. Get something in that book bag. Get
And
some
spread
tickets to
the
go to the
joy.
game.
Yes, spread the love.
Stuff like that. Just
Yes.
do things that makes them feel, for that day, feels like it's heaven.
You two are what's right with
But I
the
also want to
community.
share you a story, how I got that senior center started in a little. I was door knocking for town committee, right? Getting signatures. And I remember knocking at a door and I met this 96-year-old lady, right? She opened the door and I said, look, I'm looking for signature because I'm running for town committee. And she said, okay, come on in. And I said to her, what do you do? You look so healthy. And she said, I love to dance. And, I said, but I have no place to go. I said, oh no, you should have a place. I said to her, I'm going to make a center for you that you can dance.
That's amazing.
And that's what, with getting this center, I went back and that drove me to get that senior center. Okay? And one of the first thing we said, we want to make sure that we have aerobics, any kind of dance. We celebrate everything. We dance every day, to be honest with you. And that was really fun. And
That's amazing.
So I just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
that we're doing those things that we want people to feel good about.
Because some of our seniors are also forgotten and may not
Exactly.
receive that joy.
Right.
Hyacinth, what is your reward after giving so much to everyone else? What about you?
My satisfaction is knowing that I did something to make somebody else is happy. And I love dancing. I love jazz.
Yes,
Okay?
same.
So, I do those things. I like to go out for dinner, but my main piece
Yeah,
is the walking.
it's that. The work is in your heart. How about you, Jackie? What is your reward after giving to someone else or so many people? How do you decompress and kind of de-stress if you ever can?
Well, you can't help anyone when your battery's drained, so you do have to reset. And I take vacations with my husband, who's also politically involved, and he also can use a reset. And recently we just came back from our European trip that also celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So if you don't decompress, you're not going to be of value to help others that need all of you and all of your energy to show up. So I feel that decompression daily, if you can. I have a hammock that I like to lay in, and when the weather provides it and summer's upon us,
Yes.
I take
Swing,
full
swing.
advantage of being out there. Something about just letting gravity take over and swaying in the hammock really brings me a lot of joy.
Isn't that something that sometimes it's just the
Simple
simple
thing.
little things
Yes.
that really
simple
make
thing.
your heart happy? I am happy right now. I cannot thank both of you enough. I am truly honored to have you both in my space, in my circle. I am honored for the community, and I'm honored that you decided to come on Chaotic Joy. And I can almost get emotional about it because I know the work that you guys do, and I am humbled by you both. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's my
You're
pleasure.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
Until next time, Connecticut, this is Chaotic Joy.